welcome to another Chaos Adrenaline music review. This episode, once again, I'm joined by Mark and Robert.
Hello.
Hello.
And this is a kind of an interesting one. I was at my local record shop, a Gray Whale CD, local here in Utah, and just looking to see what they had in stock. And on the new rack shelf, they had Stray Cats. I'm like, oh, a new best of album or something like that. I take a look at it, and it says, no, new music recorded, the first album in 26 years. Stray Cats released a new album. All these songs are brand new. None of this is their old stuff. Nothing has been redone. Nothing's been re-recorded. It's all brand new stuff. And so I had to pick this up. I'm a Stray Cats fan. I love Brian Setzer, the Brian Setzer Orchestra, his solo stuff, everything he's done, swing music, rockabilly, So this really intrigued me. I gotta know, when I sent out the message to these guys about this, I gotta know, what were your guys' thoughts when you first saw that it was going to be Stray Cats' new album?
Well, I was like, okay, cool. I'm not in the Stray Cats fan boat here. But I'm like, okay, cool. It'd be fun to listen to Stray Cats and see what they're all about.
Something new and different, at least.
Something new, yeah.
So I was stunned. I was like, these guys are still around. These guys are still making music, and I'm like, and the first thing that popped into my head was, well, I wonder how they've changed. I wonder if they've changed their sound. They haven't missed a step. Yeah. So I was just tickled pink that it was the same sound that I remember, the same bebopping sound. Yeah. So if you're the kind of person that loves prog rock and seeing how a band evolves, this is not the album for you. If, on the other hand, you want to hear, the great old, 50s homage, rockabilly kind of songs, this is totally your album.
Yeah, it's interesting to know that Lee Rocker, Brian Setzer, and Slim Jim Phantom, they've all still been working. I've looked up on them. I actually have one of Lee Rocker's albums. It's okay. I haven't listened to anything of Slim Jim Phantom outside of the Stray Cats, so I don't really know about his stuff. But the fact that these three guys got back together to release this album with all brand new stuff was just awesome. So, and like Mark said, this is rockabilly at its finest. It's awesome if you're into rockabilly. But we'll get more into that as the album goes on. So let's take a listen to the very first track. There are 12 tracks in this. The album is called 40, because this is actually the 40th year of the Stray Cats. They started in 1979. So here we are, track 1 of the album 40, Cat Fight Over a Dog Like Me.
Two hot chicks, Joe's Bar and Grill, got into a tussle like bad girls will. Out of the bar to the parking lot, fussing and cussing over what I got from the parking lot. Took it to the
Alright, so Cat Fight Over a Dog Like Me. This sounds like it was released off of one of their original albums. Like Mark said at the beginning, there is no change in their style, and I think that's amazing. I think that is fantastic. One thing that bothers me sometimes is when a band tries to change their style to find a larger fan base. And some people find their sound that way. But Stray Cats knew what they wanted from the very beginning. Back when they were the Tomcats, actually. They were still this style. And it's awesome to hear that they have not changed. And this song is a great opener for all that.
Yeah, just like you're saying, vintage Stray Cats. Absolute delight to hear. When you told me to look these up on YouTube, I was like, okay, let's start with track 1. And I was like, oh, okay, we are back in the saddle, people. Another thing, it isn't going to be conveyed well in podcast form. The music video for this was a delight as well. I love the little cardboard cutout, construction paper cutouts for the people and the little trees and the little car driving around. It was absolutely wonderful.
It was like a discount South Park.
Yes.
It was almost like South Park taken to the next dimension.
It was.
It
totally was.
Because, it's just kind of cheesy construction paper cutout animation, but it's a fun little ditty.
Yeah.
I only have one nit about this song. He's saying cat fight over a dog like me?
Uh.
Aren't they supposed to be the stray cats, not the stray dogs?
Fair enough.
Yeah. So
I won't lie, that kind of was one for me too. Just like, huh.
Okay, nice to know I wasn't the only one that got hung up on that.
Okay, so as the noob to Stray Cats, I'll say noob with air quotes there.
Yeah.
Because I've heard of them, I just haven't really been a fan of them.
I'm sure you know, like, their songs,
I
Rock
know.
This Town, Stray
Rock
Cats.
This Town, yeah, and stuff like that. So I knew what they were about. I knew that they were rockabilly, and so I turned this on. I was like, "Yep, still rockabilly." I don't really, like I said, I don't have any preconceptions. I didn't have any preconceptions coming to this, other than, what I've heard here and there, and so I'm like, it's pretty good. It's still, it's rockabilly. Sounds like rockabilly. There's not much I can say, much more I can say about the opening song than it established what it is, and
It's a good, solid rockabilly tune. It introduces you to what's to come. So, with that, we're going to head on to track 2, Rock It Off.
Well, I woke up feeling bad. I mean, I never felt worse. I go to see the doctor, start chatting up the nurse. She said, "Let me check you out." See what
So, Rock It Off. So if track 1 set the tone, this track sets us firmly in the groove.
Yeah.
And lets us know, yeah, you've arrived, you've landed. This one was really reminiscent of We're Gonna Rock This Town. To the point of maybe even using some old chord progressions from it or something. I like the music video for this one too. It wasn't as fun as the first one, but it just, shots of the band in the recording studio with their big tats and, everything.
I guess, speaking of the music video, I never realized how much Brian Setzer looks like Paul McCartney until that video.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
I was watching, I was like, what is that? No, this is Stray Cats. That's Brian Setzer. Okay, yeah, and now I look at pictures of it, I was like, yeah, this is another alternate universe Paul McCartney now. I can't unsee this anymore, and it's because of that video.
And now that you point it out, because we have pictures of the band up there, I can still see it.
Yeah.
Even though it's their young 80s, 70s pictures.
Yeah. Like when they were teenagers, that's like the age Paul McCartney was, like when the Beatles were going around, and I bet if you took pictures of them together, put the hairdo on them.
Yeah. But, just going off of what Mark said, this kind of does set it in stone that it is rockabilly. What I like about this song specifically is the opening part. I mean, that's your classic blues riff right there. And it keeps that blues riff throughout the thing. I mean, you can tell that, that's what inspired them was rockabilly, and what inspired rockabilly was the blues, and so they did a great homage to that right there.
Yeah, I like the whole theme of it too. How like music heals all. Like they're saying like you don't need to like take a bunch of pills. You don't need to like lay down and rest and stuff. You just you need to listen to music and rock it off. And so it's got like you say that very bluesy sound to it. Kind of Stray Cat strutish. With a little bit deeper, a little more Louisiana almost sound to it. And
that's the blues riff in there. That they're playing off of.
And it's a pretty good one. It's a good solid one. It's not one of my favorites on the album, but I definitely don't dislike it. It's a good fun one, I think so.
So now that you mentioned the message of this one, just rock it off, let it go. I now want to hear the mashup of this song and "Shake It Off" by Taylor Swift.
Oh dear.
Oh man, that would be interesting.
Yeah,
that'd be really interesting to.
You won't hear it from me, but I'm sure someone can do this.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you search the dark web, you can find it.
Oh man. Okay, well, so after Rock It Off, we head into track 3. This one, I've Got Love If You Want It.
song is your classic '50s rock, basically. When I first heard this, it's like, oh, this sounds a lot like Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
A lot like Elvis Presley. Even by the way that he sings, that deeper voice, and it's very reminiscent of the '50s rock, and the rock that you would hear in the '50s as well.
It starts off with a really upbeat guitar riff, and it almost makes you think of like we're going to see like an old school drag race or something like that, and then it pretty quickly slows down to that kind of, that beating tempo that like you mentioned, that classic '50s Elvis style rock sound, which would have been interesting to hear it keep up with that tempo personally, but it's still a good little rock song. There's not a whole lot to this one either, but it's still a fun one that I like playing in the background. I have it as part of my playlist, and it's great. That's a great background song.
Cool.
So.
You guys must have been reading my notes or something, because I had written down that there was this big Elvis vibe in this one. When I heard the opening chord progression, I was totally expecting to hear, "Well, since my baby left me." Yeah, I mean, it just echoes of Heartbreak Hotel. I also, maybe I'm alone on this one, but I kind of sense just a hint of the Black Crowes influence maybe in there a little bit.
I can kind of see that.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah, it would be kind of fun to hear like an Elvis impersonator sing this one. I got to love if you want it.
Oh yeah.
It does work very well as an Elvis song. So, which we'll see that a few more times in here.
Mm-hmm.
So, but in the meantime, off to track 4, "Cry Danger." Cry Danger. This is a bit more raw than any of their songs on the CD. Like, it's got some good heavy garage sound to it, to me. That intro, though, it was bugging me for the longest time. I'm trying to think where I've heard that riff before. It sounded a lot like Day Tripper to me.
So, when I heard the intro to this, I thought, is this the theme song to Friends? Am I hearing the Rembrandts?
A little Rembrandt there for
It
you.
was totally that. In fact, you were mentioning on the previous track that there seemed to be a bit of a disjoint between the intro riff and the rest of the song.
Yeah.
I felt that way big time about this one.
Uh-huh.
To the point of maybe they reworked that intro just a little bit. But like yourself, I love the guitar. This felt like Beach Boys surf guitar.
Yeah.
Twangy. A lot of reverb in it. And I also liked the lyrical content. It had sort of that southern ballad kind of feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
Where we're just sort of telling a story, taking you through it.
Yeah, Mark, you must have read my notes, or you must have written this together, because I was thinking the exact same thing. Especially when you said Beach Boys, I was like, okay, this has a very surf rock.
Totally.
At least the opening riff has a really surf rock meets '80s rock.
Yeah.
To it. Well, the vibe that I get from it is it's if Billy Idol were to sing surf rock. is what it is, because it has it meshes those two genres really well. You have that surf rock vibe to it, and then you got that, like Casey said, that raw rock to it, the almost '80s. I don't want to go quite punk rock, but just kind of
It borderlines it.
Yeah.
Shades of punk for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's almost like this is the closest thing you're going to get to Stray Cats doing Psychobilly.
Oh wow.
It's not quite on par with it, but it's kind of dabbling in the waters a little bit. So, anything else on that one, you guys? Okay. Well, we're gonna head into track 5 then. "I Attract Trouble," which sounds a little too close to home.
This is your greaser bad boy song.
Yeah.
It is, yes.
I was looking for this one to show up, and it just came like the bills in the mail. It was you could rely on this one making an appearance. So yeah, I like the minor key. This is the kind of song that could play in a Tarantino movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I could totally hear this. Or like an old 60s exploitation flick like Faster Pussycat, Kill, Kill.
So a Tarantino flick.
Yeah. I repeat myself.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. Again, Mark, we're kind of on the same page here. With I really dig the minor chords there and giving that dissonance of the music, and it meets the title very well, and you kind of have that bad boy vibe, and it sounds like he has that bad boy vibe when he's singing it as well. But all in all, I think it's a very well done, really very well put together track, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I think it's it definitely has that gritty vibe to it, almost kind of like Mexicana type thing, like something from Desperado or something like that. I do find it interesting though that you keep hearing the riff from Pipeline slowed down in the background.
It very well could be.
And after it was like this sounds a lot like Pipeline to me. I gotta double check this. I actually stopped listening to the song and I listened to Pipeline. I'm like, it's almost the same riff. And from then on, I could not unhear that, and so it's like, again though, that makes it feel more like you said, like Tarantino. Like how Pulp Fiction opens up with, I can't remember the name of the song.
Yeah, I don't know the name of the song, but I know. I mean,
I know the name of it.
You know it when you hear it.
Yeah, but
I know it starts with an M.
But it's a good song for that, and like you said, you could definitely see the badasses walking through the desert of our Tarantino movie, walking through the credits of this one. Miserlou, that's the song. Thank you. Yeah, it definitely has that grungy rocker surfer feel to it. Just slowed way down. So, but kind of intriguing. So the next one, after this one, we'll be halfway through our album. Hope you're enjoying it so far. We're going to go with 3 times a charm. Not third time's a charm, three times a charm.
I saw her once, twice, 3 times, walking down the street looking so fine. She was rocking. Yeah, man, she was rocking. And now she's gone, and she left her hanging on.
3 times a charm. This has a very 50s rock, like almost rock around the clock tune to it. I actually really like this one as well. I don't know, maybe it's just the tune.
You were grooving to this one more than I've seen you any other song. So.
Yes. Like I said, I really enjoyed this one. I think it's probably it's up there with the best out of this album for me, to tell you the truth. So.
Yeah, it's same with me. It's a really good, fun classic. You can definitely see Elvis singing this one too. Yeah, you can definitely tell in songs like this that Brian Setzer gets his inspiration heavily from Elvis Presley, which isn't a bad thing. I mean, why someone's perfected something, take your inspiration from perfection, right?
If you're going to be inspired by someone, why not pick the king?
Exactly.
Why not?
Well, yeah. It is. It's just a good 50s style. This sounds like it would have been recorded, during that time, the late 50s, maybe into the early 60s type of era. It's just got good classic sound to it. And yeah, I have nothing more to really add to it other than, good.
So, Robert, again, I think we're reading each other's notes, because my first thought when I heard this was, I'm listening to Bill Haley here.
Yeah, well,
this is 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock,
right?
I was ready to start watching an episode of Happy Days after I heard this.
Yeah, I'm going to start covering my notes.
Yeah. He's cheating off.
I know.
I'm going to get a yardstick, you two.
Yeah, I mean, they even include the phrase "rock to the clock" in the lyrics. So they couldn't be elbowing you any harder with that nudge there.
Yeah, more like a punch to the face there.
You've got the counting, going up 1, 2, 3.
Come on.
And yeah, it's definitely there's an homage of sorts there.
Oh, totally. Definitely. There's definitely an homage. I mean, I think this whole album is homage to classic rock.
Yeah. And got a few things to say on that one, but we'll wait till we get to the end
Yes,
for those
definitely.
ones. So, because it's not like we ever get off on tangents.
Huh.
Anyway, track 7. That's messed up. Well, that's messed up. This is definitely a country song put to a rockabilly beat. Just the standard, oh, this woman's so hot and I need to be with her and I'm going to love her forever, and oh, damn, she left. It's kind of a cliche, lyric to it, and for me, this isn't one of my favorite ones, but I do love the rocking back and forth type tempo, it's really, really nice and chill back. Until, like, when he does the whole, "Whoa, that's messed up" part, like, there, again, heavy Elvis sound. Like, I can just say, "Oh, baby, that's messed up." Yeah. But, good, solid sound. With, it drives the point home, The title matches the lyrics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love the bluesy sound on this one, paired with the classic walking bass rip.
Yeah.
Yeah, that type of thing. I'm not sure when the phrase "that's messed up" originated, but I'm pretty sure it was post-50s. I think that was like a millennial or even a Gen Z invention. So that was something that I did find interesting about this one, is that we had this pairing of a more modern turn of phrase with a much older sound of music.
Well, I think the placement of this track is perfect, to tell you the truth, because the track before, 3 Times the Charm, is about him finding the love of his life. Then this track is about him basically losing the love of his life, walking out on him when when he's down on his luck and stuff like that. So I think that this isn't a concept album. I don't think it is. I'm pretty sure it's not. But the song is kind of meshed together in order, and I thought that was kind of nice the way that they did that. To tell you the truth.
I didn't notice that myself.
Yeah, and the next track completes the progression because it's called "When Nothing's Going Right."
There you go.
So his luck goes even worse.
Well, that's a nice segue to the next track, because I don't have anything else to add to this. So.
All right, well then let's go on into that.
About this song, we got this classic rockabilly type of sound paired with kind of old school country style lyrics. I lost my wife, I lost my car, my truck, I lost my dog, I lost my job, so on and so forth. And the other idea that popped into my head with this one, you're gonna laugh at this. This would be a fantastic song for an insurance commercial. Right?
You're right on that. Yeah.
You pair this with the scene of a guy driving down the road, he loses a wheel, he gets hit, and he's just, he's like got his hands in the air, what do I do? And into the scene comes some insurance company ready to rescue him from his dog.
It would be Geico.
Yeah.
It would be Geico.
Let's just admit it, can we?
See the Geico lizard come in with a pompadour.
And a pair of wayfarers.
Oh, that's funny.
This song, you kind of threw me off the track here. I gotta compose myself here a little bit. The song's pretty good. It's a nice upbeat song. And I think we all can relate to the song, at one point in our life, or at multiple stages in our life, actually, because it's just basically, if nothing's going right on the road that you're going, then go the other direction. There's nothing wrong with that, That's just the takeaway that I got from the song. I don't really have anything more to add than what you have, Mark.
Well, that's the thing. This song, it's got a great rhythm to it. This is one of my favorite songs. I love the sound of it. I love the rhythm to it. But the message also really strikes home with me. You know, I've gone through several iterations in my life where things just don't go right, and so you keep doing what you always done. You're always going to get what you always got, and so that's kind of the thing of this. It's like, well, if things aren't going right, you're doing something wrong. So quit going right and go left.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know? Hearing this song made me think of a Seinfeld episode where George Costanza decides, I'm going to do the opposite of what my instinct tells me, and he suddenly becomes successful for a brief period. And that's a very old adage, but it's very tried and true. You know, if something's not right, then do something different. And I love how they don't say, if nothing's going right, do something else. They say, go left.
Yeah.
I've never heard that lyric before, and it seems so obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, why didn't somebody stumble into this before?
Exactly.
Well, I mean, you may have not heard that lyric, but I've heard that saying before. You know, if nothing's going right for your life, go left.
Huh.
You know, and so I think it's a great play on that adage, and just kind of making that song. And, you know, they kind of made that song their own as well. And
Yeah, I do like the philosophy behind this one. You know, that it's kind of zen. You know?
Yeah.
You know, this path is blocked for you. Maybe that's not the path you're supposed to be on.
Yeah.
Go
try
there
here.
you go.
Try another path. This path has an open door. Go through it. See what
Yeah.
happens. So, but yeah, good, solid song to like kind of take to heart. For me personally, it's advice that I have taken in the past, and hey, it's worked. So, all right, on to the track 9,
Ooh.
Desperado.
not the Eagles. Alright, track 9, Desperado. So the song is it's only an instrumental song on here. It's a nice guitar, not really a riff, but it's a good. It sounds like the name implies, a nice country. Like I can see this at the end credits of a country or even a Tarantino film, something like that. But, yeah. Mark signaling that I'm reading his notes again. So.
Yep.
In case he's shaming me. Look, guys, I started this off. Mark's copying my notes.
Yeah.
So.
I think this falls to the great minds think alike type thing, personally.
And
It does.
fools seldom differ.
Exactly.
It does. No, it's just a great instrumental. I guess you could say it's kind of intermission to the rest of the album, to tell you the truth. Guitar, you got your winning guitar there. You know, you can imagine yourself riding off in the desert, in the with the sunset behind you, and so that's about all I have to say about that, really. So.
It's interesting to hear an instrumental by the Stray Cats. I don't remember if they have any other instrumentals. If they do, I don't recall them. But this song, I'll say this one is one of my lesser favorites, just because it's kind of a little bit slower. You know, it's not as upbeat and rockabilly as the rest of it. Doesn't make it a bad song. It's just a little slow-paced for me. It really made me think of From Dusk Till Dawn. Actually, Robert Rodriguez, you know, particularly the scene where Santa Monaco Pandemonio dances, the song that the band is playing during that sequence. It just was very reminiscent of that to me. So, but yeah, it's definitely got that kind of Western. I'm heading into Mexico, or I just freed the liberation, or whatever. And not a bad song, but definitely not my favorite on the album.
Yeah, so I'll be the contrarian this time. This may actually be my favorite track on here.
Nice.
Yeah, I am so glad they did an instrumental song because they've got such a solid band. You know, I mean, the instruments alone can just carry it, and this song showed it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I definitely love the vibe on here. This sounds like this could play in a southwestern crime drama or a Tarantino flick. Could run during the opening credits. I also really was just wishing that I could see a visual on the technique the guitarist was using. Because he makes just such a fantastic little wobble on those notes.
Yeah.
I want to know, is he using a whammy bar? Is he using a wah-wah pedal? Is he just wiggling his finger like
What he's
crazy
doing
on the
is he's probably
fretboard?
bending the notes.
Yeah, maybe
As a guitarist, that's probably what he's doing. Is he's probably just taking the note and then kind of bending it with his fingers, either up or down. But he's bending it a half note.
Yeah, but there's more than just a bend going
Well,
on there, 'cause he's got a wobble in there, too.
So you could either wobble it. So he's either doing that or he's using the whammy bar to,
Possibly both.
or both. Yes.
Yeah.
Brian Setzer is one of my favorite guitarists. You know, I think that he's like just magnificent. This song does show his skills. You know, not just as a rockabilly artist, but just as a guitarist.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, well, we are coming on to the home stretch here. We've got 3 songs left. We're on to track 10, Mean Pickin' Mama.
You're a mean picking mama. You've gone too far this
Pickin'
time.
Mama. This song, to me, sounds like a lost track from Crybaby. It sounds like some of the similar riffs to King Crybaby that he sings, you know, during the big epic sequence where the drapes and the squares have their big old battle before that happens. It's just a really good, you know, rockabilly, solid song, and it has those breaks when he says mean, you know, how he holds that note for a moment and everything goes out except for that, and then it just picks right back up. That's a thing that's not done very often in music and could have been overdone very easily in certain songs, but I think that, you know, hearing it every now and then is pretty good. I really like this one.
Yeah, per your comment about, you know, letting the instruments die out during the vocal set sustain on me.
Mm-hmm.
Billy Idol does that on some of his songs to
Yeah.
great effect, so it was nice to hear that too. Yeah. So I am not a big fan of love songs in general. I greatly prefer the Love Gone Wrong type of song. And this one had that in spades. Yeah, I just love, you know, the bitterness there, like, oh, I thought I knew you, know, kind of thing. Yeah, so that was a fun one for that. The bass riff was reminiscent of Blue Suede Shoes.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, just per all the talk we've had about the Elvis influence, there it is on display once again.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah, so, you know, this song, it has great contrast, playing off of what Casey said with the vocals, how it's that sharp contrast of he holds on to the mean so long, and then it cuts off, and, you know, it goes on into just the normal lyrics. And you don't see that a lot in a lot of artists anymore, how they can hold on to that note and then change it on a dime. So, you know, it's a good props to him to be able to do that. It shows, it basically shows his vocal talent, maybe not his range, but the talent that he has on sustaining a note. And I don't think that's an easy thing to do.
Definitely skills.
Mm-hmm.
You when you've been singing for 40 years, you kind of learn to perfect that stuff. Alrighty, so Mean Pickin' Mama done. We'll head on to track 11. I'll be looking out for you.
When I heard this song, I thought, this is a fantastic road song. You know, I heard it playing, and I could just see, like, the double yellow line stretching off into infinity on this strip of black asphalt running through Arizona somewhere. You know, saguaro cactuses going by on the side, convertible, top down. Some girl sitting in the back holds up a scarf, lets it go, it flutters onto the road behind. Yeah.
Very vivid description. That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's extremely vivid. Yeah.
Yeah, it
I
just...
like your description there.
Yeah.
Just this whole picture conjured up in my head. Yeah, I could see this, like, you know, playing in Natural Born Killers or something, where it's like, it's us against the world, baby, and I'm looking out for you. I also really like the line, "Everything has changed, but it's the same." It really resonated with me.
This is another really solid song on this album. I don't know if I can beat your description of the song. I mean, that was very vivid. Now I feel kind of inadequate now saying my thoughts. Because, all I can say really is, it's a good song. It's a good song.
It's great. Yeah, this one I think is actually my favorite song.
Okay.
Like I love it. It's just got kind of a grittier sound to it. I love the I love how he doesn't. How can I put this? Not just him, but everything about it. Whenever there's note changes, it's not always just a solid note. It's either up a sharp or down a flat in cases. It's only up like a half step of a note at times. And I really like when that's done right. I've heard that done funkily several times, and this one does it really well. I also like how Lee Rocker and Slim Jim are backing up the chorus on this one. That was something that you heard sometimes every now and then in their older songs, and we didn't hear it much throughout this album, but this song had it very, very, very prominent, so it was really cool to hear them doing so much backup vocals again with him. But yeah, I really like this one. I think it was a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, the up a sharp or down a flat kind of thing. That reminded me of the bumps on the road, right?
Yeah,
or just little minor increases in elevation or things like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a good one. All right, we'll roll this out and bring up the caboose. Is Double Train.
This is a really great song to end the album with. It's extremely upbeat. The album is pretty much going out on a bang. It has that very, very much Western vibe to it as well. I kind of imagine, riding along a train, either with a train heist or something on your horse or something like that. Because it just really has that vibe to it. It's a very intense song to be going out on, but you just kind of leave the album satisfied. Really, that's at least how I felt when when it was over. So when the song was over, I was like, okay, next song. Oh wait, no, this is the last song. So
you hear whenever a song has the name Train in the title or something like that, you almost expect that sound that's going to follow through with it. So, it was kind of a little bland for me at first with this song. I didn't really like it the first time I heard it. But oddly enough, this song is one of those that's just kind of grown on me. I didn't really care for it the first time I heard it. I was like, kind of a cliche trope, as it were, with music, to, train music and have the clackety-clackety of the train. But over time, listening to it as much as I have, I've actually really come to like this song. And I can't really explain why. It is, though. It's a good ending song. It's a good finishing song. You can kind of see it, like, fading off, the train leaving off into the sunset, into the distance type thing.
Yeah, so several observations about this one. First of all, I would love to hear Squirrel Nut Zippers do a cover of this song. I was reminded of their song "Hell in the Afterlife." This would pair well with that kind of thing. The other thing, I would love to see a music video for this with Cuphead or Steamboat Willie style animation. The big cartoon train with the eyes and the mouth on it, kind of chugging along.
Doing all of eyeworks on it and stuff like that.
Yeah. The other thing, with respect to the content, there's a line in there, if you can't feel pain, you ain't alive.
Yeah.
And I think that paired well with, the theme and the title that, hey, you're going through this life, and man, old Scratch is going to be dogging you at every turn, and that's just how it be.
Yeah. Yeah, that's some interesting observations on that. That phrase, if you don't feel pain, you don't know that you're alive. I've heard that said several times, and almost every time I've heard that, it's said in a very profound way. and this is no exception.
Yeah.
So, all right. So overall, what did you guys think of this album?
All right. Well, I really enjoyed the album. Okay, and so this is coming. This is the noob speaking of Stray Cats. Okay.
This is the most Stray Cats you've experienced.
This is the most, and this is the first Stray Cats album I listened through all the way through. But I really enjoyed it. It was a really good rockabilly album. It's a good album altogether. I like how he went back to the roots of what inspired him, and like I mentioned before, you can see that this is a homage to the 50s, to Elvis, to that 50s rock, to surf rock. But it's a great homage and to what rockabilly is supposed to be. Rockabilly in history, got its roots from blues, and you hear the blues early on in the album. You hear the rockabilly, and rockabilly is kind of the transition from blues to rock and roll. And so I really like the way that they did the album. I really like the way that they composed the songs. I think it's a strong album altogether. It was a really fun album to listen to and to sing along to as well.
For me, I'm a big Stray Cats fan. I've been a fan of them for quite some time. I own several of their albums, some even on record. I've always been a fan of these guys, and to hear a new album of theirs like this, to sound like their original stuff, is great. Like I said at the beginning, there are some bands that you hear them for the first time, and then they progress and they become their true sound, and sometimes that's a good thing, Bad Religion's a great example. Their earlier stuff was pretty good, but they fine-tuned it over time. I thought it was really good. Stray Cats had the perfect sound from album 1. And they have... It's so cool that after all these years, 26 years after their last album, that they've come back together and still got it. Still got that same sound to it and everything. It's really fantastic. And to see them, like in the music video for the second song, actually showing them in the studio just having a fun time. Yeah. Just kind of kicking back and laughing, and it's really cool to see that coming back. You see these young pictures of them, like little hoods, but they're obviously like happy to be together, and it's cool to see that it's like they're still the same guys. They're just older.
Yeah. Yeah. So first of all, I think it was great that this album was up on YouTube, and from the looks of it, it looks like this was legit. Like this wasn't a bootleg thing. It was.
Yeah. When I listened to it on YouTube, it was on Stray Cats' YouTube channel.
Yep. There you go.
So,
yeah. And so I think that's fantastic. That for a bunch of old guys, they seem to be fairly cognizant about how new media is supposed to work. So give them props for that. And I hope it helps to drive sales. I hope people buy their tracks on iTunes and maybe even get actual physical CDs and things like that.
Well, that's how I got it.
Yeah,
picked it up on a shelf.
Yeah. Per your earlier Rob, this did feel like a love letter to 50s rock. It felt like somebody put Elvis, Bill Haley, Buddy Holly, and Chuck Berry in a blender and just hit frappe, and out this came. It was wonderful. And this was vintage in two different ways. It was vintage 50s and it was vintage 80s Stray Cats.
Yeah.
So it was great to have a blast from the past coming from the present.
Mm-hmm. I think the thing that stands out to me the most about how that hasn't changed is Brian Setzer's voice. There are a lot of singers, Metallica. You listen to their old stuff and you listen to James Hetfield now, it's a different person. It doesn't sound like the same dude. His voice has drastically shifted from all the years, And you listen to a lot of bands that have done that. Brian Setzer still sounds the same. It's really crazy that his voice hasn't even changed. If you drop this, if you release this in 1982, you wouldn't know. It was a 40-year later album.
Yeah.
All right, so thanks, guys, for coming out and doing this album with me. I'm glad that I'm glad I found this. I
glad you shared it with us.
Yeah, of course. I I like to keep my eye on the horizon for new music, and I'm one of those weirdos that still goes down to the record shop, literally record shop, thumbs through the LPs and checks out the CDs. I write down albums that I want to look for, and me and my wife will spend like a long time sifting through music. And it was funny because this day I went down there and I was leaving empty-handed. I just happened to see this on the new rack shelf. So check it out. If you're a fan of the Stray Cats, I guarantee you're gonna love this album. It was a really good, solid album. There's not one song on here I can legitimately say that I did not like.
Oh yeah, ditto.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. Yeah.
So that's it for now. We'll post more of these videos later, of course. If you have any suggestions, ideas, anything, feel free to email us. Check out our other reviews, and hopefully soon we'll have a couple more videos. We got a couple bad tastes in the queue.
Fantastic.
Mark, you're still always welcome to join.
I guess
Yeah,
he's gonna torture me some more, huh?
So keep an eye on the weathered horizon for those, and we will see you next time.
Cheers.
See ya.